Welcome back. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, 16 years as the leader of Hungary. That has finally come to an end. Orban's right-wing Fidesz party receiving only 38% of the vote in this last election over the weekend, losing to his challenger Peter Magyar's TISA group, which is evidently a center-right party. Magyar was once a member of Orban's party, so in a way, this election kind of felt more like a primary does by our standards. That's part of the nuance of this story that I don't think a lot of people understand. Not the massive upset that liberals in our country, in the U.S., are making it to be, because Viktor Orban was always known as the Trump of Hungary. Headlines reading: Viktor Orban ousted in landmark defeat. Viktor Orban is gone. What does the fall mean for Europe? We're going to talk about this now. Bryan Leib is a senior fellow at the Center for Fundamental Rights in Hungary. Matt Schlapp, CPAC chairman, organization that has a great relationship with Hungary and with Orban as well. Good to have you both here. So, Matt, I saw the liberals all celebrating over the weekend. I thought, oh, wow, did a lib take Hungary? Is it going to turn into, an asylum nation like the rest of Europe? But what does it really mean?
No, this was not an election that was any kind of repudiation of Viktor Orban's policies or conservatism or focusing on the family. This was, when you're in power 16 years, the longest serving post-World War II elected leader in Europe, there's a time when you just can't keep bucking history. When you're the guy who's been there for 16 years, it's hard to blame the guy before you for high inflation, all the economic problems that occurred in Hungary after the start of the Ukraine war. And I'll also say that the start of the hostilities in Iran didn't really help him, because his closing argument is we need peace in Ukraine. We should bring these two countries to the peace table. And then as war or military operations started in Iran, it's the right thing to do on President Trump's behalf. It was just probably bad timing for Viktor Orban.
Bryan, how do you see it? What explains this for you?
Well, a lot of what Matt just said, but I would also add to the fact that there was a little bit of a protest vote from some of the liberals in Budapest that maybe didn't really like Peter Magyar so much, but they hated Viktor Orban enough, unfortunately, to vote against him. But I think Viktor Orban and his party really have a lot to be proud about. They worked very hard on the campaign. They turned out an immense amount of voters. And their future is strong. They're just going to have to recover here and go back at it in 4 years.
Matt, Magyar is a supporter of the European Union, is what's being said. Orban was not. Will that be the most noticeable change in this new regime?
Look, Nigel Farage famously led Brexit. Viktor Orban wasn't trying to pull out of the EU. He was just telling the EU, you don't get to set my immigration policies. If we're going to say illegal migrants can't come to Hungary, we're going to make that determination, not Brussels. When Brussels was trying to fuel this war between Russia and Ukraine, Viktor Orban said, look, I'd rather bring these two parties to peace, because Hungary has no port. They have no real energy production. They were reliant on Russia and other countries for their fossil fuel needs, and the war had a desperately tough impact on their economy. So that was the problem between Viktor Orban and the EU. This guy who beat him says he wants to make nice with the EU. I think that's a mistake. The EU is a very left-wing globalist institution, and we're going to see how this goes. I don't think the people of Hungary didn't go woke. They didn't go left. They don't want communism. Yeah. They simply wanted to put a new guy in charge with mostly the same policies.
Yeah, it's interesting. Bryan, one quick headline here to show you from Le Monde was a backlash against Orban's government program that brought Indian and other non-EU guest workers into the country. From a leader that was supposed to be taking a hard stance on immigration. That's what people elected him for. Was there a mistake made there, or was that out of necessity? Why was that decision made?
I'm not sure if that's real news or fake news. Matt and I have been to Hungary quite a bit. I haven't really seen too many Indians while I'm there. But listen, just closing thought here is I think the Hungarians have a lot to be very proud of. They have really done such an amazing job building a strong bridge here to the United States and to the conservative movement all around the world. And so many people have played, Rob, such an amazing role in that here in the U.S. and in Hungary. And the relationship between our two countries is going to remain strong. And I do hope that the new prime minister takes advantage of that and builds on that and makes sure that our relationship is stronger than ever before, because he has a great friend
Rob,
here in the American people.
Matt, finish
we'll
off.
be going back to have CPAC in Hungary, no matter who's leading Hungary, because the people of Hungary feel a very close association with conservatives in America, and that's not going to stop.
Yeah, well, it's such a great example of what Europe could be if Europe could get its head out of its butt, and start thinking for its people instead of the rest of the world. I got to leave it there. Bryan Leib and Matt Schlapp, good to see you both. Thank you.